The loss of a family is a very painful ordeal to go through. Worse yet, when it's at the hands of the one you trusted most. This story is a different tune compared to other family tragedies. Aran Mara arrived home on a cool September evening, his heart pounding with a mix of anxiety and fear. The usually lively and welcoming house, once filled with laughter and warmth, now stood eerily silent. The faint glow of the porch light illuminated the front door, which hung slightly ajar, an ominous sign that something was terribly wrong. The familiar comfort of home was replaced with an unsettling stillness, and a cold breeze seemed to seep through the open door, sending shivers down Aran's spine. Stepping cautiously inside, Aran immediately noticed the eerie atmosphere. The usually pristine walls and floors were now marred with dark red splatters that seemed to tell a horrific story. The air was thick with the metallic scent of blood, and the faint hum of household appliances was the only sound breaking the suffocating silence. Aran's voice trembled as he called out to his family, desperation lacing his words, but the only response was the oppressive stillness that seemed to press down on him from all sides. Each step through the house felt heavier than the last, his legs almost buckling under the weight of his growing dread. As he entered the living room, his worst fears were realized. His mother, Sunita Mara, lay motionless on the floor, her body bearing the unmistakable signs of a violent struggle. Her once vibrant face was now pale and lifeless, her eyes frozen in a final expression of shock and pain. Nearby, his father, Rakesh Mara, was slumped over in a pool of blood, his hands outstretched as if in a futile attempt to shield himself. Aran's breath came in shallow gasps as he staggered further into the house, each step echoing like a drumbeat of doom. In the hallway, he found Priya, his beloved wife, sprawled on the floor. Her lifeless eyes stared blankly into the void, her body marred by the unmistakable marks of a brutal attack. The sight shattered Aran completely, and he fell to his knees, sobbing uncontrollably. His cries echoed through the empty house, a haunting melody of despair and heartbreak. Yet, amidst the overwhelming grief, a glimmer of hope flickered in Aran's mind. One person was unaccounted for: Asha, his sister. Desperation drove him to his feet as he frantically searched the house, calling her name with a voice hoarse from anguish. Finally, he found her in her bedroom, curled up in a corner. She was alive, pinned in the bullet case and stained with blood. But she was alive. Her wide, terrified eyes met his, and in her hands she clutched a knife, her knuckles white from the strength of her grip. The arrival of the police, alerted by a concerned neighbor, brought a brief sense of relief to Aran. The flashing lights and authoritative voices filled the house, breaking the suffocating silence. The officers quickly cordoned off the area and began their investigation. While the initial assessment suggested a gruesome murder, Asha's survival and her possession of the knife immediately raised questions. Asha claimed that she had been in her room when intruders broke in and attacked the family. She insisted that she had hidden and did not see the attackers. However, her story began to unravel under scrutiny. The knife in her hands matched the wounds on the victims, and her fingerprints were the only ones found on the weapon. Investigators also uncovered Asha's diary, which painted a troubling picture of her inner turmoil. The entries revealed her growing resentment toward Priya, feelings of inadequacy and jealousy that had festered over time. The seemingly perfect facade of the Mara family began to crumble as more secrets came to light. Witnesses spoke of escalating tensions within the household, particularly between Asha and Priya. Priya's arrival had disrupted the family dynamics, with Asha often expressing frustration over feeling sidelined and overlooked. Financial strains further compounded the stress within the family, leading to frequent arguments and a palpable sense of unease. Friends and acquaintances also noted Asha's increasingly erratic behavior in the months leading up to the tragedy. She had become more withdrawn, often voicing feelings of abandonment and insignificance. Under intense interrogation, Asha eventually broke down and confessed to the horrific crime. She recounted the events of that fateful night in chilling detail. An argument with Priya had escalated into a heated confrontation, during which Priya confronted her about her jealousy and behavior. Consumed by rage, Asha lashed out, grabbing a knife in a fit of anger. In the chaos that followed, her parents tried to intervene, only to become victims of her blind fury. Realizing the gravity of her actions, Asha panicked and staged the scene to look like a home invasion, hoping to escape blame. Her confession shocked the investigators, who struggled to reconcile the image of a young woman consumed by jealousy and rage with the brutal reality of her actions. The trial that followed was a harrowing affair, exposing the deep psychological struggles Asha had faced and the unresolved tensions within the family. Aran, the sole survivor, was left to grapple with the devastating loss of his parents, his wife, and the sister he once cherished. Overwhelmed by grief, he decided to leave the city of Ghaziabad, where every corner and room was a painful reminder of the tragedy. In his new city, Aran dedicated himself to raising awareness about mental health, hoping to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in other families. The Mara family's story serves as a grim reminder of the destructive power of unaddressed emotions and unresolved conflicts. It highlights the importance of open communication, emotional support, and mental health awareness in fostering healthy family relationships. The cost of ignoring these issues can be unbearably high, leaving behind scars that may never heal. You seem to be enjoying the video. Subscribing would let you know whenever we post more exciting documentaries such as this one. The courtroom was packed as the details of the case unfolded, capturing national attention. Asha's defense argued that her actions were the result of extreme emotional distress and psychological instability, attempting to mitigate the severity of her punishment. However, the prosecution presented a compelling case for premeditated murder, detailing the years of resentment and jealousy that culminated in that night of unimaginable violence. The jury's verdict was swift. Asha was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to life imprisonment. The tragedy left a profound scar on all who knew the Mara family. Neighbors and friends struggled to comprehend how a seemingly happy household could harbor such dark undercurrents. Media coverage of the case ignited debates on the importance of mental health, family dynamics, and the destructive power of unchecked emotions. Aran, the sole survivor, bore the weight of the tragedy. He withdrew from public life, leaving the city of Ghaziabad, where every corner was a painful reminder of his loss. In his new city, he began a quiet yet impactful journey of advocacy. Aran devoted himself to raising awareness about mental health, sharing his story to emphasize the importance of addressing emotional struggles before they escalate into irreversible consequences. The Mara family story serves as a stark warning about the hidden dangers within seemingly perfect lives. It underscores the importance of open communication, emotional support, and vigilance in recognizing the signs of distress. The cost of ignoring these issues can be unbearably high, leaving behind not just scars, but voids that may never heal. Through Aran's efforts, the memory of his loved ones lives on, transforming their tragedy into a powerful call for compassion and understanding in all families. The trial of Asha Mara and Rajesh Sharma became one of the most closely followed legal cases in India, gripping the nation with its chilling details and emotional complexity. It was not only a tale of murder, but also a reflection of how jealousy, resentment, and unchecked emotions can fester and erupt into catastrophic violence. The prosecution built a strong case, relying on confessions. Both Asha and Rajesh had confessed to their roles in the murders, with their testimonies aligning and corroborating each other's accounts. Physical evidence. Forensic reports showed Asha's fingerprints on the murder weapon and bloodstains on her clothing. Rajesh's presence at the scene was confirmed by shoe prints matching his size near the bedroom. Motive. The prosecution highlighted Asha's jealousy and sense of abandonment, painting a picture of deep-seated emotional turmoil that escalated into violence. The defense attempted to argue that Asha and Rajesh acted under extreme emotional distress, citing Asha's fragile mental state and lack of intent for the murders to escalate as they did. They also pointed to Rajesh's claim that his involvement was coerced and that he had no intention of committing murder. After months of deliberation, the court delivered its verdict in early 2017. Asha Mara, found guilty of premeditated murder and conspiracy. The judge acknowledged her emotional distress but emphasized that her actions were calculated and deliberate. She was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Rajesh Sharma, found guilty of aiding and abetting the murders. While the court acknowledged that Rajesh initially resisted Asha's plan, his participation in the attack ultimately sealed his fate. He received a 25-year sentence. The case sparked widespread debate across India, with opinions divided between sympathy for Asha's emotional struggles and condemnation of her actions. It brought to light the darker sides of familial relationships and the destructive power of unresolved conflicts. Social media was flooded with discussions about the pressures placed on women in traditional family structures, with some arguing that Asha's feelings of neglect and jealousy were a result of systemic favoritism and emotional neglect. Others, however, viewed her as a cold-blooded killer whose actions were inexcusable. For Arun Mara, the tragedy was an insurmountable loss. Stripped of his family, he left Ghaziabad and moved abroad, seeking solace and anonymity. He established a foundation in his parents' and wife's memory, advocating for mental health awareness and conflict resolution within families. The Mara family massacre serves as a haunting reminder of the fragility of human emotions and the devastating consequences of letting jealousy and resentment go unchecked. It remains a cautionary tale for families everywhere, a stark warning that beneath the surface of harmony, unresolved tensions can brew into unimaginable tragedy. Wow, you're still watching? That's great! Do you know that subscribing allows you to be one of the first to know when we post a new video? The tragedy of the Mara family is a sobering example of how deeply rooted emotions, if left unresolved, can spiral into unthinkable actions. Here are a few thoughts on the underlying factors that may have contributed to this horrific event. If Asha felt abandoned and overshadowed after Priya joined the family, it may point to a lack of emotional balance in the way her parents managed their relationships. Favoritism, even if unintentional, can create resentment and a sense of inadequacy in family members. It's possible that Asha internalized these feelings over the years, leading to the buildup of jealousy and hatred. Jealousy is a normal human emotion, but when ignored or dismissed, it can grow into a dangerous force. Asha's feelings of being replaced and overlooked should have been acknowledged and addressed early on. Open family communication and conflict resolution could have helped to diffuse the tension. Asha's inability to deal with her emotions in a healthy way highlights the importance of mental health awareness. Instead of seeking support or finding constructive outlets for her feelings, she allowed her resentment to fester, eventually leading to violence. Raj's involvement underscores the impact of external influences. If Asha sought validation and support from someone outside her family who encouraged or enabled her negative emotions, it could have exacerbated the situation. While it's tempting to attribute Asha's actions to being spoiled, it's more nuanced than that. Overindulgence in childhood can lead to entitlement, but emotional neglect or a lack of accountability may also play a role. A balanced upbringing where children learn to manage disappointment and value relationships might have prevented Asha from harboring such extreme emotions. The Mara family tragedy serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of family communication. Address conflicts and emotions openly to prevent resentment from growing unchecked. Mental health support. Recognize and address signs of emotional distress or jealousy early on. Equal attention. Ensure all family members feel valued and supported, especially during transitions like marriage or major life changes. What do you think? Could any interventions have saved the Mara family from this fate? Or was this a tragic outcome of irreconcilable emotions? As always, like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel.